You've stared at your phone longer than you want to admit. You read the message, closed the app, reopened it, and checked again even though nothing has changed. You tell yourself you don't care, yet your body feels tight, like something is quietly holding its breath. You felt this at work, too. An email ignored, a meeting where no one responds, a silence that lingers just a second too long. It looks like you're being patient, but inside something is spinning. And here's the strange part. A clear no would hurt, but somehow it wouldn't feel this heavy. Why does silence cut deeper than rejection? If you've ever felt this, you are not broken. You are not dramatic. Your brain is not sabotaging you. It is trying to keep you safe in the only way it knows how. Silence doesn't just leave you without an answer. It leaves your nervous system alone with an open question, and your mind fills that space to protect you. This reaction makes sense. It always has. Think about the first time this shows up in real life. A childhood moment when a caregiver went quiet instead of explaining. A friend who drifted away without a reason. Your body learned early that silence meant danger, unpredictability, or loss. Psychologically, this connects to attachment, not as a label, but as a memory stored in your nervous system. When someone goes silent now, your brain doesn't just see a delayed reply. It remembers being small, waiting, wondering if you were still safe. In modern life, this looks like refreshing a chat over and over, pretending you're fine while your chest feels tight. Yet that vigilance once helped you survive. It kept you alert when you needed to be. Then there's the way silence overstimulates the mind. Rejection is a closed door. Silence is a hallway with no end. Your brain hates unfinished stories, so it starts writing its own, sometimes cruel, sometimes tragic, always loud. You felt this during a job interview that ended without feedback, or after a vulnerable message that received no reply. Psychologically, this isn't weakness. It's your brain craving predictability. You would rather feel pain than uncertainty, because pain is something you can understand. The irony is that this craving for clarity probably protected you before, in environments where guessing correctly meant staying safe. Silence also pokes at your sense of identity. When someone rejects you, you can tell yourself a story. They didn't like my idea, or we weren't a match. But when there is no response, your mind turns inward. You start questioning who you are. Was I too much? Not enough? This is where internalized expectations show up, the quiet rules you learned about how lovable, visible, or acceptable you were allowed to be. In relationships, this can feel like watching someone slowly fade instead of ending things cleanly. It hurts more because it makes you feel erased rather than declined. And yet, this self-questioning once helped you adapt to people who were unpredictable. Avoidance plays a role too, but not the way people think. Silence often mirrors avoidance, theirs and sometimes yours. You may avoid conflict because you've learned that clarity brings loss. They may avoid difficult conversations for the same reason. When both sides meet in silence, it feels personal, even when it isn't. In pop culture, this is the ghosting trope we see everywhere. But beneath it is something very human. Two nervous systems trying to stay safe without knowing how to talk about fear. That pattern, as painful as it is now, once kept relationships from exploding when no one had the tools to communicate. And here's where it gets interesting. The real wound isn't just the silence itself. It's what silence does to your sense of control. When you are rejected, you can grieve, move, or close the chapter. When you are met with silence, your mind stays trapped in a waiting room you didn't choose. Your body remains on alert, scanning for signals that never arrive. That state of limbo is what your nervous system finds unbearable. As you grow older, the same silence lands differently. In your teens, it might have felt like social survival. Being left out could mean real loneliness. In your 20s, it may have shaped how you date or choose friends. Later in life, you might recognize the pattern sooner, even if the feeling still stings. The behavior doesn't disappear, it evolves. You are not less sensitive now, you are more aware. Your brain interprets silence through layers of memory, experience, and understanding that you didn't have before. The core remains the same.
You are trying to protect your heart in a world that doesn't always explain itself. Silence also serves a strange emotional function. It regulates you in its own paradoxical way. When you can't get clarity, your mind creates a familiar rhythm, checking, imagining, bracing, releasing, like autopilot. It becomes an old, recognizable room you know how to navigate. Even when it hurts, it feels safer than the unknown. In that sense, silence becomes a thin blanket you wrap around yourself, not because it comforts you, but because it is familiar. It is an anchor dropped into chaos. It is a home your nervous system recognizes, even if the walls ache. There is something deeply human here. You are not reacting to a message delay. You are responding to a lifetime of experiences where uncertainty equaled danger, where love was inconsistent, where answers were scarce. Your brain is doing what it was built to do: minimize risk, prepare for loss, and keep you standing. The fact that silence hurts more than rejection says less about your fragility and more about how much you crave clarity, connection, and emotional safety. Imagine your younger self waiting quietly, hoping someone would speak, afraid to ask too much. That child didn't need fixing. They needed reassurance that silence didn't mean abandonment. That version of you is still inside, reacting quickly when the world goes quiet. You didn't choose that. It chose you. So when silence stings, it is not a personal failure. It is an echo of your history. It is your nervous system remembering, your mind searching for meaning, your heart trying to stay safe. Even the urge to overthink is a form of care, clumsy, exhausting, but protective. Rejection hurts because it is loss. Silence hurts because it is absence without shape. But both are part of being human in relationships that are messy, imperfect, and unpredictable. You are not too sensitive for feeling this. You are simply deeply attuned. And maybe that is the quiet truth beneath it all. You didn't overreact. You reacted like a person who learned to survive by paying attention, like someone who wanted connection and was careful with it, like someone who still believes that clarity matters. So when the next silence arrives, and it will, because life is like that, notice the feeling without judging it, not to change it, not to outgrow it, just to recognize it as something ancient and human moving through you. You are not broken for feeling this. You never were.